It's about faith to believe. It's about hope to receive. It's about love to give life. It's about transplant life with me, Miss Vinny. Hey everyone, it's Miss Vinny. Please visit our merch store at abouttransplantlife.com. We've got some really cool items for sale and support our efforts to raise awareness of the importance of organ, eye, and tissue donation by sharing incredible stories. So please visit our website today. That's abouttransplantlife.com. Hey everyone, it's Miss Vinny. Today, we are celebrating Black History Month with the incredible story of a living legend. Oliver Hale of Grand Rapids, Michigan is a two-time kidney transplant recipient, an award-winning chef, and he hosted his very own cooking show, Chef O's Place, sharing his delicious, healthy lifestyle recipes. Chef O is also an athlete who has won multiple awards, traveling around the world, participating in the Transplant Games of America, and we are going to talk about it today on About Transplant Life with me, Miss Vinny. You ready? Hey everyone, it's Miss Vinny. It's Thursday, and we go live every Thursday here on About Transplant Life, and we share incredible stories. And today, I am so honored to introduce to you the living legend himself, Chef Oliver Hale is here.
Miss
Hey,
Benny,
Chef.
I've been waiting to meet you and join you on your show. This is an honor. This is a
Oh,
thank you. I'm
thank
glad
you
to
for
be here.
being here.
Oh,
You
I'm
I
waiting.
heard I heard so much about you, and I was like, I have got to get this living legend on our show for Black History Month. And here you are.
Thank you.
God is good. God is good
All the time.
all the time.
Yes,
And
yes.
and when I heard you love the Lord like me, I said, "Yep,
Oh, you have to.
we got a lot to talk about."
We have. Oh, let's do it. Let's do
Okay,
it.
let's talk about transplant life. But first, like I said, you are truly a living legend, sir. And you've been black a long time. and
Well,
this
you.
and this is Black History Month in
Mhm.
America. And so you've seen a lot, right? You've been through
Yes.
segregation, civil
Hmm.
rights, you
Hmm.
know, all of the milestones that have been accomplished in Black America. So I just wanted to hear from you. What is your opinion about the current state of Black America?
Right now, I have to honestly tell you, I'm kind of scared. Way things are going. Seem like a lot of our, I'm not going to say a lot of them, but some of our youth are not understanding what, not me, but my parents and my grandparents went through to make things the way they were, the way they
Mm,
are now. Because when I started in a restaurant where I worked in the kitchen and could not go into the dining room of the
see,
restaurant that I worked in. Now
why?
that
Why you
that
couldn't go in?
no, I'm in the kitchen washing dishes, but I couldn't
Yeah.
go past that door. And so, I mean, my parents didn't get a chance to go out to restaurants to eat. I watched my mom as she got up in the morning to go pick cotton to get money for us to make things possible for myself and my other five siblings to enjoy life. And the way to see kids are taken advantage but thing. They asked me, "Oh, I want to be like you, Chef. Oh, how can I get?" I said, "I had to crawl a lot before I could walk in this industry I'm in." I mean, I had people who see my resume right now. I went to do a party once, and was with two other white people, and the lady came out the house and went to the first white guy and said, "Oh, Chef, oh, I'm so glad that you're here. I've read all about you and your awards, and we're looking forward to have your food tonight." And the guy said, "I'm not Chef O, he's Chef O." So,
Mm.
but the state right now is just a lot of just a few people who do not understand what we had to go through. I mean, I lived in a very segregated city where a lot of things I couldn't do when I was growing up until when I turned 18. I moved away from there and tried to better myself. And
Where'd you grow up, sir?
I grew up in a little town east of Dallas called Greenville, Texas.
Mm.
Greenville, Texas. Hello, all you who's watching who know about this show down there in Darktown. But it just things we had to go to. Couldn't do this, couldn't do that. We didn't segregate, not segregate. We didn't integrate to 1968, and that whole first 4 months of nothing but riots and fights and stuff. So I didn't learn nothing. My first half, my ninth grade year, my freshman year of high school, because that's what we were. But that's what we went through. And
Yeah.
kids these days do not understand that. And then just think everything is coming to them the way it is. They have the opportunity to make changes to move forward if they
Yeah.
just do it. Just do it. Don't not just, oh, we can't do it because the man is holding us back. We can't do this. No, 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 no. You have a great opportunity. Sometimes I think what would happen if I was born now and doing the things. I would probably be much, much farther in my career than what I did because I was held back because the times I went to a couple of cooking competitions. I wasn't allowed to do the cooking competition because it's an Afro American.
Because of segregation, you weren't allowed.
Yeah, so it
Mm.
just a lot. I broke through and I did it, and here I am.
And here
Here,
you are. And that's why I think it's so important that we, give, living legends like you the opportunity to share your story because you have firsthand knowledge of the way things used to be and the way they are now.
first,
And your wisdom is
first
priceless.
knowledge. I look at my Senator Lewis and a bunch of other senators past who have passed on and what they went through, and I said I went through the same thing, and people should appreciate what doors they open and
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
did because it just like one of my favorite ones was Jesse Jackson, and he always said leave a legacy when you die. Leave something behind so people can see what you did and be appreciated. And I'm doing
That's
that in both worlds, the cooking world and the transplant world. Because I mean, when 41 years ago, when I was on dialysis trying to talk about organ donation, whoo, I feel like I robbed a store. Someone I go and say, we need to talk about organ donation. Oh, I'm not giving up my kid. I'm not giving my organ.
Well, let's talk
So,
about that. Let's talk about your personal connection to transplant because you
uh,
are a two-time kidney transplant recipient, right?
yes, yes,
You had
my
two kidney transplants.
I lost my kidney. I was an up and coming tennis player over in Toledo, and I was making my way up through the ranks, and I won a big 5-state United States Tennis Association tournament. We won in doubles, and I was looking to move up some more, play more tournaments. In 2 weeks exactly from the time I won that tournament, I laid flat on my back with kidney failure.
So
And
you didn't have any other symptoms before that? It just
no,
came upon you suddenly?
no, I had high blood pressure and didn't know it. I
Oh,
had went to the doctor for years, but the last 3 years of during that time, I thought I was doing good. 'Cause I'm running around on the tennis court 4 or 5 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week. I thought I'm good, but I played this tournament, and the doctor told me I should have known when I didn't break a sweat at 94 degrees outside. I'm on the tennis court and did not break a sweat. He said, you should have known something was wrong with your body. And my kidney was deteriorating at that point. And so he said, did you notice any urine output? I said, no, I don't measure my urine when I get up in the morning.
That's
So
not funny, but that's serious though. You
that is
know.
serious. Yeah. I mean, you get up and go to the bathroom, you just go and say, wow, it's supposed to be more than that coming out. You better have it checked. So with that, things went. I went on dialysis right away.
What year was that, sir? What year did you go on
Let me get it right.
dialysis?
It was 1983. It was
Mm.
July of 1983. I went on dialysis, and that's when I started getting involved with the National Kidney Foundation there in Ohio and started doing. And exactly a year, it was when I got the phone call. I never forget this, Miss Vinny. I was sitting and watched the American Music Award in 1985, and Lionel Richie was cleaning house with what was that, Dancing on the Ceiling? Was his album?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. When he was
Yeah.
when he kept saying outrageous, and I got the phone call at 11:10 that night
That
telling
they
me,
had a kidney for you. So
and
you
from
were on dialysis for only 2 years?
not even 2 years, I said a year and a half, year and a half, and back down that was rare. That was rare to be on dialysis,
Now it's rare.
and
I
so
have some friends who were on dialysis for 10 years.
10 years. I know
Mhm.
some that was on 22 years. And they did well. They wanted to live their life like that. So, but I got the transplant January 29th of 1985, and I hit the ground running. Now, only thing that I, not saying I didn't like, I wrote the family in March of that year, 1985, to show my appreciation, just to let them know how I felt about receiving this life-saving kidney. Well, I
Yeah.
never heard back. I never heard back from them,
Okay.
and my goal was to, from that point on, to pay it forward, start doing things to help people. And I call it helping those who cannot help themselves. And
It's
start,
something about getting a transplant that make you want to help people, ain't it?
yeah, well, somebody helped me.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it too.
And I said, so I volunteer. When I see people need something, I say, can I help you do that? They say, oh, why are you doing this? I said, not just because it's in my heart. It's
Yeah,
God willing. And
that's
because
right.
I am standing here talking to you, but somebody lost a loved one. And
Yeah.
that loved one, I have their organ inside of me. So from that point on, I started volunteering, doing things. One thing led to another. My life as a transplant recipient, I wound up sitting on boards. I wound up making changes. I was on the committee who helped set up the pairing situation now, where if
The
you
kidney
want,
exchange program. Now we talked about that. That's what you're
yeah,
talking about, the kidney exchange program?
yeah, it's change program. I was on the committee when that first came about, and we spent, I know, about 2 years trying to put it together, and they send it off to someone to put the wording with it, and now it is a major part in organ donation. Where if you want to transplant, give someone a kidney, but it doesn't matter, but you still want to give it, they will
Yeah,
find someone that you get it, and that
that's
is
right.
so heartwarming. University of Ohio, Ohio State, they just did one where they did in 2 days. They did 20 people. They did 10 on one day and 10 on another. Where 5 people got something, 5 people gave something, and the next day
That's
they did it again.
incredible.
Yes, because it was one of the largest pairing in the 2 days like they did. And
You
so
know, we're live on Facebook right now, and we got some friends out there. My friend Cheryl LaPlante McCain, I always mess her name up. Excuse me.
hello Cheryl.
Her name Cheryl.
Hello
She's a
Cheryl.
living kidney donor, Chef
She's a,
O.
so she's one of those who donated. I mean, I don't know how many of you remember the great basketball player, 5'9", Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson was an NBA player, and also he won the slam dunk competition 3 years in a row. He just received a kidney transplant 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yes,
Do
he
you
was
know him?
on.
You know him, Chef O? I want him on my show.
No, I would tell you what, I'm working on it because I just wrote him, and I wrote his donor who donated his
Did you?
kidney. So I'm in communication with him, and we would get him. Don't just just wait. We'll work on that, okay?
Okay, y'all
So
heard him say that now.
yeah, when I get Nate, I mean, there's other people I wish could, it's not that many people, celebrities who have did a lot for Oregon. Well, the great Sean Elliott. Sean Elliott was a basketball player for the San Antonio Spurs. He got a kidney and went back playing the NBA. And I remember in Louisville in 2006, I think it was 2006, I received my medal for tennis from him. He was there
Oh
handing out
wow.
medals. So he came to a transplant game. The one that I really loved and enjoyed talking to, and I met him in 1990 in Indianapolis, was Carl Lewis.
Carl Lewis.
I
He's
played.
a
I was in.
transplant recipient?
Huh? No, he was involved with the transplant world. He had
Oh,
a
okay.
friend, and he was at the transplant games in 1990. And after I finished playing my tennis tournament, I took second place, singles. And Carl walked out on the court, and he walked up and he said, "I like the way you play your game." Now, move forward 2 years. I'm in the elevator in LA after I finished playing a tennis tournament. And guess who got on the elevator with me then? 2 years later,
Cool.
Carl Lewis.
Oh wow. Did he
Again,
remember you?
we talked a lot. In fact, we went to a party together. So we talked a lot. But that's just how people are involved and getting involved, and more people are getting involved. Every time I turn around, there's new people getting involved. I was out in your area in El Segundo. El Segundo.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not too far.
I was out in that area, and I worked with a lady was with the Kidney Network, and I did a radio interview with the guy that was from Animal House. There was a movie called Animal House, and
Yeah.
he was a transplant recipient, and I got a chance to do an interview with him, and he's involved. Another actor, Jack Black. Jack Black
Yeah,
did.
Jack Black. I know some people that know Jack Black.
Jack
He's
Black is
very
very.
much involved in
Yeah,
transplant community,
he
isn't
does
he?
a lot of the transplant proms for the little kids, yeah,
Oh,
teenagers. So there's people out there that's involved, but I just something I have enjoyed, and like you said earlier, we love giving back. We
hmm
love giving back, and my giving back over 41 years, and you probably talk about it. I just received in July 21st. I received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from President Joe Biden.
that's beautiful and
I mean,
very much well deserved, I must
I
admit.
I I pinch myself when I still think about it and see the award hanging on my wall and the medals, the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Medal that I received from him. And those are things that touches me and make me want to do more and
Yeah.
continue doing more. And that's why I'm doing it in my cooking world. I have two more big events coming up. I'm going to be up the street from you guys in Seattle, Washington. I'm
Up the
speaking.
street. We love Seattle. I love Seattle. It's
Well,
beautiful up there. It
and
rains a lot, but I love it up there.
on April 1st, I'm going to be doing a podcast speaking to the dietitian of Washington, Oregon, Dakota. It'd be 5 states. I'm going to be doing a more like a podcast in, interview with them up in that part on April 1st. And then
That's
I'll be in Baltimore next month, March, at a convention speaking on transplant life and also life 40 years after transplant. So,
okay. So you had one transplant, but you ended up having two. Tell me why you needed the
okay,
second transplant.
when I got my first transplant, the one thing the doctor said, Oliver, this is a transplant. This is a best cure you can get for a dialysis person. But you got to remember, it may reject. It
Mm,
may reject. So take that and store it in the back of your mind somewhere that one day it may reject. It may be tomorrow, maybe a year. And they didn't never could see. They at my time they gave me 15 years on the first transplant. I went
Mm.
23. And so after 23 years, I started rejecting and I started preparing myself. We're getting ready to go back on dialysis. Went back on dialysis, but at that time, it was a lot more people on dialysis or waiting for transplant because in the city of Toledo, where I lived when I first got my first transplant, we only had 6 dialysis units in the area of where I was at. Now
And
there's
there's a
over
whole lot more than that now, isn't it?
it's 24, I think. There's 20, almost 20 new units in over the last 40 years there. And that show you how big, because when I went back on Dallas the second time on December the 7th, 2007, I uh, waited. It took 4 years before I get a second transplant. 4 years, and I was steady. I was committed. I got up every morning on 3 days a week. Went to the unit, checked in. I did my uh, meals. I did my drinking. I did my medicine. Did everything I was supposed to because I wanted to live a healthy life for a long time. And I
Yeah.
did. And like I said, and I said, God would make a way. I just put it in his hands and I just prayed that one day he will. But between now and then, I'm going to keep myself going and start doing and make sure I do things. And I mean, I even worked at that time. And also at that time, I was doing a TV show. The TV
Let's
show,
talk about that. Your TV show. You are a gourmet chef.
yes,
Um, and
my,
you make
my
incredible
background is
food.
French French gourmet. I love doing sauces and I love just making nice, creamy, healthy food. And
Creamy
I
and
did it
healthy.
and I did the show for 11 years, 315 shows I did, and I won 9 video awards with the show
Okay, so tell
for
me about that. When did you discover that you were a gourmet chef? Were you professionally trained or was it just a gift that
when I
God gave
started.
you?
I always wanted to be a gourmet chef. I'm gonna go back a little bit for you. Go back in 1968. The restaurant I was working in. I was in this restaurant. I was a dishwasher, and I stopped and I looked at the chef, the white chef, and he was cooking. And I was standing there, and he stopped, and he said, "What are you looking at?" I said, "I'm watching you cook, because I want to be a gourmet chef and run this fancy restaurant one day." And I went on, and he stopped and came over and told me. And I'm gonna tell you, it motivated me because I still talk about it when I do interviews with people. What motivated me to become a chef was that guy because he told me there's no way in hell a white owner gonna allow a you know what to run this restaurant. This in
He said
1960,
that to you?
huh?
He said that to you? What year
Yes,
was that?
1968,
Hmm.
and I never forget it. And I
And you
held,
said, watch this, huh?
I so night move forward. In 2004, I was voted best chef in Grand Rapids. And there was a
Wow.
big magazine article, and it had my picture on the whole page. On the page of the magazine, it just said, Best Chef Grand Rapids, Chef Oliver Hale. That's all it said in a picture of me.
Wow.
I took that magazine along with many others back to my town in Greenville, Texas, and went to look for this guy, but he had passed. Because I wanted to show
Oh.
him,
Hmm.
let him see what a person can do if they put their heart and soul to it. I
That's
mean,
right.
I did what I was supposed to. I love creating food. I love creating dishes. I love creating meals that people love doing. I started doing cooking competitions. I mean, I did one for UNOS up in Richmond, Virginia. I did a cooking
Okay. And
competition.
that's the United Network of Organ Sharing.
Yes, they
You know,
invited
all
me.
transplant recipients know about that. So how did
Oh,
that
yeah.
happen?
And that one was beautiful, beautiful. We did it live did a live cast of the competition going on, and it was a blind box, like All the competition I ever did was blind box. They give you a box of food, everybody gets the
Hmm.
same thing, and you have a certain time. But this was the hardest one I ever did because
What was in the box?
we stood there and they said, and introduced us and blah blah blah. And they said, in front of you have a box of items we want you to cook. And I said, oh yeah, I'm sitting there. But they said we're gonna throw a wrench in. We're gonna add four new things to your cooking competition. One, they said we're gonna add couscous. I said, couscous.
What's couscous you thought of?
Couscous. Yeah, I thought you were gonna add something. So I said, okay, yeah, a few more minutes of boiling stock or whatever I'm gonna do to add my couscous. Number two, this blew a lot of the chefs, blew people out of the water. They said we're gonna add a persimmon. And everybody like, persimmon? I said, yes. My grandmother had a persimmon tree in her front yard, and
Oh
she
my
used to make
goodness.
she used to make persimmon jam all the time. So I knew what that was. Here was
Hmm.
started getting hard. Number three, you can only use one burner stove and one 10-inch saute pan for everything. Everything. I said, okay, I got some in this box. I know I got couscous. I got a boil. I got plenty of time. I got plenty of time. Bring it on. And he said, and number four, number four, you only had a half an hour to cook what's in the box, add these ingredients, add the four things, and plate up four plates for judges in a half an hour.
Wow. Did you
Kick
do it?
butt, kick butt,
You
kick
kick
butt.
butt.
I
No, you did.
kick butt. And when I got done and they started counting down, I put my plate together and bloom. There it was. In the box, it was a bag of spinach, a bunch of asparagus, a big chicken breast, a red pepper, yellow pepper, purple onion, garlic. You had chicken stock, beef stock, apple juice, cranberry juice. You had white wine, red wine. You had butter, flour, and all these herbs. And
Wow.
so the main thing was the chicken breast. Chicken breast, one of the biggest things you do. And so I wound up doing the salad. I wound up cutting up my veggies. I made the couscous first, but I didn't make it. I just bought this chicken stock and mixed the couscous, put it in a bowl, and put a plate on top of it, let it simmer. I did the same
Mm.
thing with my chicken sauce. I made a chicken sauce with some white wine, chicken stock, roux, and I made that. Put it in a bowl. Then I went to my chicken bread. I had to cut it in bias for four judges. Cut that, season it, put it in the pan, let it start cooking, and I'm looking around. So I chopped up my asparagus, my peppers, my onion, and garlic. Get it all chopped up. And what I did when it's time to flip the chicken over, I flipped it over and threw all my veggies in and put a plate over the saute pan and hit it with a little white wine and let it simmer. And I let it slowly cook up.
Not the white wine, chef. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's what
I can
French.
smell it right now. I can smell it right now.
you
See,
know,
you can talk about food all day long. So
yeah, I can.
tell me how you got the cooking show. How did that come about?
I was I was working at a restaurant, was a banquet chef, and they had asked me if I would come on and do a live at noon for a local television station. I said, "Oh, sure. What do you want me to fix?" They wanted me to do a certain meal. Don't ask me what it was back then, but this was in 1996, 97, and I did the show. The show was a hit. I know what I made. I made a fruit lasagna. It was a dessert.
A fruit lasagna?
Yes, I made a dessert with lasagna noodles and fruit. And in between each layer, I made a sauce, the cream sauce, like a banana pudding sauce. Between each
Mhm.
one, and I put strawberries on one, raspberry, blueberry, and bananas, and I made it all fruit lasagna. And you had to bake it in a water bath with water around it, and you bake it off. Then you take and sit in the refrigerator, let it set. And I did that, and it was so successful. People kept asking, and that recipe stayed on that station website for a whole year.
You
because
gonna have
people
to send me that recipe so I can get my so I can get Chef Tony to make me some fruit lasagna. That sounds interesting.
it was that's what I do when I think about things now. That's why I've been so successful with the cooking show and cooking competition. I think out of the box. That's what I love doing, thinking out of the box. When somebody say we're going to do something, my brain started just moving. Say, what can you do that's different? Because I don't want to do what Joe Blow is going to do over here. I don't want to do what Chef Steve going to do. I want to do something that they say, what? You going to do what? And so that's what it was. And so with that, doing a news show, they asked me to come back a second time. Then I was approached by a media person about doing a 15-minute news piece. I said, okay, I'll do 15 minutes. So I said, I went to a meeting and said, yes, we would do it. I would do it. And they said, well, we don't want to do a 15-minute piece. I said, oh, okay. I got up to leave. And they said, no, we want you to do a half an hour cooking show. I said, you're kidding me. And he said, you want, and I said, what's the name of the show? It's your show. What is it about? It's your show. You do anything you want. I said, wow.
Wow.
So I got to moving. I made some phone calls, and believe it or not, I wrote one person that I thought could help me with a show. I wrote Chef Emerald Lagasse. Everybody know him, Chef Emerald. Bam Bam, Mr.
Bam
Bam
bam. Bam
Bam.
bam. Yeah, we know him. We know him.
I wrote
So what
him.
happened?
I wrote him, and he wrote this beautiful letter back telling me all the do's and don'ts for a cooking show. And one of the first things he said, never put your recipe online. I said, and because he kept in contact with me. I said, why you don't want to put your recipes online? Because when you get ready to do a cookbook, nobody will buy it because they already download them.
Got your recipes, yeah.
Oh wow, that's why he said he did two cookbooks. I knew early in life that he said didn't sell because everybody had the recipe. So I wrote him, and boom, my first show never made it out of the can. It was so bad. It
Oh
was so
no.
bad because I didn't know. He told me about the time and set your time up because you know what you're going to do, but your audience do not know, and you should just because my first show, I was halfway done with the first item, and the show was about over. So,
So you
after
gotta
that,
pace yourself and all that and be prepared and
I
all of
did a
that
flip.
stuff.
I
Timing
did a
is
flip.
everything.
I did a flip chart in front of the number one camera that's in front of me. Then I had two other cameras. Then I had a boom camera. And I put a flip chart, and that chart said 5 o'clock to 5:05, introduction, da 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 da. 5:06, yeah, 5:06, you start this. 5:06,
Yeah.
5:15. So I had the time where I should be at, and it said 5:24, start wrapping up. And it went from that point on. It went, and next thing you know, I was invited and said I've been nominated for the video award for best live instructional show in a 5-state area. And I said,
Wow.
really?
So you
And
did that for 11 years, right? What city was your show
it was
broadcast
it,
from?
it was in Grand Rapids, Lansing, went as far as Detroit, went down to Kalamazoo. It was in Cadillac, Michigan, and West Michigan, and it was just all over. And then later on, it went to South Dakota, Minnesota area, and somewhere else. They went out, and people were just. It was great. So what happened was my kidney rejected in 2007.
Oh.
I kept noticing my TV shows. I was standing there leaning on the counter because I was getting tired. So by 2010, I made a decision to go ahead and drop the show and just stop because I noticed I was getting tired myself by standing there and doing so.
Yeah.
I dropped it in and I kept doing pieces. I had, producers asked me, can I do a piece there? I did a couple. I did the Detroit Public School did 20. I mean, do no, I'm sorry. Did 18 shows for the Detroit Public School for their homeroom. During their homeroom, like they would give me a
Oh,
topic. They give me a topic, like they would say, smoking. What why should you not smoke? And da 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 da. Do a meal, da da. And they just gave me topics, and I would come up with these items that I would do a 5 minute video. They flew me to Detroit. We did it in this beautiful place that had 5 studios, and my helper would go before me and set the studios up for me. So when we tape one show, I go to another show. I go and tape it and kept going, and it was an honor. That's the
see,
other thing I've
that's
had
why I
with my
call you a living legend. You know that, right? Because you're a living legend.
no.
You a celebrity. You a chef. You everything. Chef O. Now,
Well, but
my friend Cheryl has a question. Cheryl
okay,
wants to know, Chef, are you going to the 2026 Transplant Games in Denver?
I am packed. I am packed.
You hear that, Cheryl? He said he is packed.
Sure, I am packed. I've been doing these games since 1987. I went. My
Wow.
first game was in. I have did 9 international games, and the first one was in Innsbruck, Austria, that I went to compete international. Then after that, I did every national game except two. I missed two national games because that's when I was in rejection during that year. And I've been playing ever since. I have enjoyed it. You can see behind me here, there we are.
Hmm.
Those are that and the ones here in the shadow boxes of my medals. I have a total of 37 medals altogether, starting from track and field to uh, tennis. Tennis is my big one. I played tennis, single doubles and mixed doubles. Then I also played pickleball. I played pickleball. The last three on here are from pickleball. And also, hold on to your seat. I'm a fencer for the United States. I fence in international competition. I
You
have
mean with the sword and the spear? You
yes, I have two medals here from fencing, where I
wow.
won one was in Budapest, Hungary, and the other was in England, where I won those. And I have enjoyed it, and being on the transplant team. It's just so exciting. I mean, this past we was in Birmingham, Alabama last summer. I won two more medals
Hmm.
there, and it just I go because it's like one big family reunion. Seeing all these transplant recipients, promoting organ donation, seeing some of the challenges, because it's not all about winning; it's about
Yeah.
competing to show that you are able to compete. Because all of us, and you know just as well as I do, you can see your life at a certain time because you were sick. You were told that if you don't get this transplant, something's going to happen. So
That's
being
right.
able to get that transplant and being able to go and compete. Now, these transplant games are not all sporting events. They have a trivia competition.
Oh,
They
I've
have
never been, and I want to go next time in
okay,
2026.
Denver, Colorado, for second week of June, 2026. There's ballroom dancing. There's the Texas Hold'em. There's cornhole. There
Oh,
is
that's funny because Tony, my wonderful son Tony says, Chef, how was your cornhole game?
oh, I took second place in Birmingham. We
Oh
did.
my goodness.
Team Michigan won silver medal in the cornhole competition in Birmingham the past year. So yes, that's weird you brought that up. But yes,
He asked
I
that question and you brought it up.
yeah.
That's
But
pretty cool.
one thing when I go international, I have the team manager along with the other team, with the host team, set it up where I can go and do things. My dream was to go to a foreign country restaurant and work. Well, I got a chance to do that.
Where'd you
In
go?
England, I got invited to England to be the guest chef at a five-star restaurant. And it was unbelievable how they treated me. You seen? I don't know if you ever seen the Downton Abbey and all those shows where
Uh-huh.
people when somebody come to the house, they all line up outside and you go down shaking her. That's what he did me. When I got to the restaurant, they were sitting there and they lined up from the head, the dining room manager, all the waitress, the kitchen staff, the dishwasher, the connoisseur, the wine guy, the owner, and just I couldn't believe you have one of the pictures that you did in your advertising of me in the kitchen with this guy cooking.
Yeah.
That was in England. That was in
Wow.
England. And then today on my Facebook, I just did one where I did a cooking demo at the Y World of Sports complex at Disney World in 2000 for the Transplant Games. They asked me to do a cooking, and I don't know how many thousands of people came in this auditorium, and they had the back of it. And I was down on the gym floor there with big screen TVs around me, and they had me do a cooking demo in front of all these people at the Y World of Sports complex at Disney World. So,
That's
like I
impressive.
say, I've
Our
been
captain,
blessed. I've been
our
blessed.
friend Captain said that's impressive.
Yeah, well, thank you. But I'm doing this because God have gave me a chance to do it. I've been blessed over and over and over again because I've been to too many funerals, Miss B. I've been
Mm.
to colleagues' funeral where they didn't make it.
Me too.
They didn't get a transplant. They didn't couldn't their transplant didn't survive, and so
Yeah.
it can be easily be me there. So that's why I tell people I don't have time for all the bull and this and that I want to sit around and worry about it. I need to just move forward and just try to make my life better. And when I make my life better, as my dad always told me, when you climb in that ladder of success, reach back and bring somebody with you. Pull somebody back with you. So that's why I work with the youth senator in Grand Rapids. I mentor young kids. I had one kid who just was blown away at my world and the cooking world because I took him to some restaurant and I walked in and we walked in this restaurant. It was a pizza and the guys, how you doing, chef? And we ordered a pizza and he said, well, just go ahead and get your drink. So I walked behind the counter, the cash register, to the Coke fountain, got my pop, and he said, "What are you doing? You can't do that." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "This is the first thing I'm learned to teach you: respect. You earn respect. You get it, and once you get it, keep it because it's hard to get. And when you get it, take it and show it and share it with other people. Because the reason why I walk behind that counter, that guy knew me. He knew I'm not going to go in his cash register. I'm going to go and get us some drinks, and we're going to go back and sit down. I mean, and I take a lot of kids. I have a kid now I'm mentoring that when I do a lot of 5 and 7 course meals for people in their homes, fancy meals. And I have a kid now that I picked up. He's a young kid in the culinary school, and he wanted to learn gourmet cooking. And he just goes home to his parents and takes some of the leftovers with him. And he just say, "Mom, look what this guy did. Taste this. Taste the flavor of it." And
And
it
you
just
never went to culinary school. You're self taught, right?
yeah, no, I went to culinary school.
Oh, you
I went,
did. Okay.
yeah, when I kind of the people at University of Toledo mad at me because when I graduated with 3 degrees. I did culinary, business, and hospitality management, and
Okay.
I
Okay.
wasn't going to do it that way because I took classes on top of classes on top of classes. When you're not supposed to do it that way, you're supposed to take them every 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have a culinary art degree that I use, but my culinary art is just reading books and looking at pictures and seeing things and this and that. You know, you talking about the cornbread with the mashed potatoes and chicken
Yeah.
that somebody saw this and they thought it was a dessert. They thought it was English. They thought it was a muffin with some
It
whipped
looked like
cream.
a cupcake.
Yeah, looked just like a cupcake, but it was I used that for a party I did. But another one of my bucket list that I got a chance to do last year was I got a chance to do a 9 course dinner for 10. I was
Nine
when
course
they
dinner.
and they asked
That's a
me,
lot of food.
That's a lot of food. They said, "Can you do it?" I said, "Yeah, I can do it." And I started to work on it, trying to come up with all these different things I can do, and I pulled it off, and they just were shocked that they sit there in 4 hours and 15 minutes and ate food.
Wow.
And
How
so,
important is healthy eating for transplant recipients
very important.
today?
Very
Yeah,
important.
let's
You
talk about
you have
that.
you have to watch what you eat. Sodium. That's the hardest thing I find with people. I'm not going to tell you the state, but I was invited to a state to do their National Kidney Foundation function for the whole state, and it was over 500 people, and they wanted me to come up with the recipe. I said, sure, I can do that. And then I get a phone call about a week before I arrived. They said, well, we want you to do something with your recipe. I said, well, can you add salt to your recipes? I said, wait a minute, you asked me to do a healthy cooking thing, and now you're going to tell me to change it to add salt? Well, most of our people like salt. Well, that ain't me then. That ain't what I come there to do.
Child, salt is the devil if you have congestive heart failure. It'll send you
Yeah,
right
oh
to the
yeah.
hospital.
Well, I try to show people. I try to show them how to add ingredients, like we were talking about earlier, the white wine. How to add.
Hmm.
People people come to my place and they look at my liquor cabinet. That's in my kitchen, and he said, "Man, you love liquor." I said, "No, I don't drink all that. I cook with it." He said, "You cook
Cook
with
with it.
it." I cook with it. I just did a fish dish that somebody was at my place, and I did it encrusted with hazelnut breading. I took some hazelnut, chopped them up, put it in the breading, and I put it on there, and I cooked it up. And I took the drippings of it, and I took heavy cream and frangelica. Frangelica is a hazelnut liqueur, and
Mm.
I put that in there and just and put it over the fish, and they said, "Oh my god!" And
Oh my God.
well, and now you're talking about, like I said, things that's been happening. I'm going to do my first class. I'm teaching a class in April at a small college here. I was asked to
What are you
do a
going to
four,
teach?
huh?
What
I'm
are you
teaching.
teaching?
I'm doing a 4-week course on how to add sauces to your life. That's what it's going to be. How to add sauces to your life. Well, I'm taking beef, pork, chicken, fish, veggies, and dessert. And we're going to spend a half an hour each class. And I'm going to show you how to take, I'm going to walk in with 10 different liqueurs: tequila, gin, rum, vodka, amaretto, marcella, uh, 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 frangelica, beer. And I'm going to
Chef,
line
oh,
up
that's healthy.
because you burn the liquor off. You get the flavor. You don't get alcohol. Well, that's why when you're cooking with stuff like this, you probably see the chef flame up the pan. That's burning the alcohol out of it.
Alcohol.
And
Okay.
you coming up with the flavor of what you got. And that flavor would change the whole taste of something you drizzling it over the top, around it, or whatever, or making a sauce. I'm doing a pork. I'm gonna make a peach chutney with some peach amaretto sauce, where I'm taking this and make a chutney with it and put over like pork. I mean, it just
Mm-mm.
see, somebody just said flambe.
Yeah, baby,
Yeah.
that's Tony. He know what you're doing. You making me hungry.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's just how to add stuff, liqueur to your flavor. And that's what I'm doing my 4-week class on. And in fact, it was so funny, it filled up in 3 weeks. This has been a 3-month project, waiting to see how many people want to sign for it. They had to cut it off after 3 weeks. And
Wow.
now they want me to do another class in the fall of the same thing. So all these other people who didn't sign up for it can sign up. It's just the way I do things. And then plus that, people have seen me on television, they see me on the live, they see me at competition, and now I don't compete no more. I'm a judge.
All
I'm,
right.
I'm a judge now. I stopped the cooking because the younger generation, they have a bright mind, they have a big mind, they know what to do, they know
Yeah.
how to create some things I may not know how to do because I'm old. I'm 72 years old, and
You're
I just
72 years young.
70. There you go. And I step back and let them take over. But I'm going to be a judge. But I'm going to be strict. I'm going to be strict.
So you promised that you would give out copies of your recipes to our viewers if they would email you, right?
Yes, you
So if
email
you
me
would like
and you
a
say,
copy of
Chef,
Chef
I have
Ogre's
this.
recipes, yeah, you can write him. And there's his email address. It's hchefo@gmail.com, right, Chef?
No, 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 AOL. Sorry, that's the
Is
wrong
it
one. It's
AOL?
AOL.
Okay, let me fix it.
Sorry. Yeah, take that Gmail out. It's hfo at AOL.com. And I
All
will write you back some recipe, one or two recipes on things of how to do it. But please follow my instruction. Don't, because I had somebody write me about prime rib. Chef, how to make a good prime rib. And I told them how to make the prime rib. Then they did what the cookbook said. The cookbook always tell you put the prime rib in the oven, turn it up to 500 degrees, and brown it. Da 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 da. No, I sear
right.
mine, get it nice
Mhm.
and brown all the way around, and let it set, and then set it in the oven, let it go, and probably 2 hours at a very low temperature. You pull that prime rib out and you cut it, and there's no blood, but it's nice medium. And when you now forget it, throw the knife away. Just get a fork and start cutting it.
You just need a fork? Are you
No,
serious?
that's all. It can be nice and tender. I have people said, "How do you do your pork tenderloins that like that? How you get it so soft? Well, you take a fork and cut into it. I just slice it and you put it on your plate and you take a fork and do it because you don't need that to cook food. And the other thing I try to tell people about eating healthy, use olive oil. Because olive
Yeah.
oil has a better flavor and it get a hotter temperature than your plain old oil, vegetable oil, whatever. I know people say,
Right.
well, how about coconut oil? How about this oil? And that? No, I just use olive oil, but I have my own flavor. I don't even have my container here with me, do I? No,
You
what?
spice up your olive oil, Chef
It's
O?
not. It's not olive oil. It's Oliver oil.
Oliver oil. So we are live on Facebook. And my friend Kathy said if you ever do a virtual class, she would love to attend. What do you
Well,
think about that?
I have did many of them. Oh, here it is. Da-da.
Oliver oil. You
Those
gonna
are
be
my
selling
labels.
that?
Those are my labels for my oil that I use.
You
I don't
sell
use
it, Chef O?
no. I used to give it away to guests, and when
Oh,
I
okay.
stopped the show, I stopped it, and now I just have my own big bottle that's sitting right by my stove. But yeah, I used to do a virtual cooking thing in my kitchen, and I would do it like once a month. I had a couple people ask me, but it got to be hard. There you go. Yes, olive oil. Okay.
Oliver oil. That's my beautiful cousin Cassandra Webb. She's
but but
watching.
But you have to, and I tell people not how to boil stuff. They constantly boiling stuff. When you boil veggies and potatoes and stuff like, you boiling all the nutrition out of it. You need to
Mm,
steam it. You need to get
yeah.
you a little device steamer where you just sit in the water. It's not sitting in water. Just steam it. Just steam it. And it's nice and crunchy, and your nutritional value is there. When I cook like a fish. I don't stand there and be turning that fish over and over and over again. You get your pan at a high temperature, olive oil. You sear, you sear it on one side, flip it over, and stick it in a 375 oven. And so you go about
Mhm.
doing your other things your beef, your chicken, your pork, whatever's cooking in the oven. You're going to do your other things. So when it's time for that fish or beef get ready to come out of the oven, you just go in there, scoop it up, and play it, and you have your sauce over ready to go, and drizzle over the top, and there you go. You don't need
There
to sit there and be cooking. It comes out tender and better.
Amen.
I
Amen.
just and like I say, I would just before COVID, I had 5 pharmaceutical companies who hired me out to travel from everywhere from Boston to El Segundo down to Orlando, all the way up to I went to Maine. I was all over the place where they would tell me to go to dialysis centers to do cooking demonstration for patients. I would set up in the lobby and I'd be there for 2 days because
Oh
they do
wow.
They do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I would go there and do Monday and Tuesday. Then they have me go off and do Thursday and Friday. I mean, not Thursday, Friday. Yeah, Thursday and Friday. And I would go there and I set up my little table. I had my little electric stove, and I would do mainly. I did a lot of chicken dish, showing them how to add this and cook it. I did rice, like I used to do cranberry rice. I don't like doing just plain rice. I like doing cranberry rice or a mandarin orange rice or
Mm,
tomato rice instead of just
mm,
plain rice with butter in it. I used to do tea bags. Take tea bags of different flavors and cook the tea bag water, then put the rice into that water and let it cook, and you get a
mm.
flavor. So those are the things what I'm telling you, I have created and I come up with over the years of how to do things. Uh, uh, People like when I do breadings. I in my refrigerator, in my freezer now. If you come to my house, you open my freezer, I have a section, and I have 4 bags of flour. Each one of them bags of flour represents a fish, pork, chicken, beef. So what I do is I put all the ingredients I need for that fish, like dill, lemon pepper. I'd use Mrs. Dash on
You
everything.
mix the flour, mix with the flour.
I mix it
Mm,
all together, put them in
mm.
this big, large Ziploc bag, and put them in the freezer. So if I need it, I got a piece of fish. I'm gonna go in there, pull that out, drop my fish in there, shake it up, put it in my pan, roll that bag back up, and put it in the freezer. I don't
And
have to
you
worry
are
about
ready to go.
all ready to go. I don't have to worry about doing a plate full of flour and try to put the breading on it, the seasoning on it. I got it right there. And then after so long, you sift it to get some of the crumbs out of it, but put it back in the freezer so you don't have to worry about any bacteria growing.
My friend Kathy said she's gonna try that tea bag rice this weekend.
What's the orange one? I just, not pica orange. I love using it by taking and make my, then put my rice in it. But also, I love, like I said, doing dry cranberries, chopping them up. I let them soak in
Mhm.
wine. Let them soak in wine. Don't just chopping up cranberries and put them in. Let them soak in some wine. Let them get puffed up, and then you
Mm.
take it and put it right into your rice with a little cranberry juice in there and give it a little flavor. There's
My,
so much,
my, my.
but like I say, you have to watch what you eat.
Yes,
Watch.
you do.
Yes, and why you how you prepare it. 'Cause preparing it comes up so easy and so well doing. And like I
Yeah.
say, I just love playing with food.
Yes,
Playing
you
with
do.
food.
I
I
can
love.
talk to you about food all night, but I got one last question for you.
Oh, and go ahead.
What are you most grateful for?
My life. My
Mm,
life. I have come. People think my parents had this and that, and like I say, I had to watch my mom do pick cotton. My dad was a ditch digger. My parents never went out to a restaurant. I never forget the time we got a chance to go out to eat. And at the time, I was like 31, 32 when we all got together and went out and sat at it. And I cried. I cried because I thought I'd never see the day that we can go into a restaurant and sit and eat because the way the segregation was.
mm,
I cried because my parents never got to go to an island for a vacation, never went here for a vacation. I am very grateful for my wife, my life, because my dad and mom, while they was alive, God bless them, they were so
mm.
proud of me. How much time we got? How much time we got?
We got 1 minute.
Okay, my dad worked with a guy who I was in high school with that we went to a cattle judging. I was in FFA, went to a cattle judging competition, and we had to stay in separate places. We couldn't stay at the hotel. We had to stay at a black family home. Then this
Mm.
fast forward, my classmate went to work with my dad, and he said this guy would come in with magazines and newspaper clipping of his son, and I never seen it until I saw the name, and it was you. And he called me up. He called me up and apologized about the way things were, and is so glad to see what I have grown up to be. And so I
Yeah,
am very happy in my life, and I just God bless you, all the people that are watching. Like I say, you can become Facebook friend. Just go to Oliver Hale, become a
yeah.
Facebook
Oliver
friend.
Hale.
Follow me
Yeah,
all over. If you need a recipe, want to ask me questions about something, how can you make this taste better? I will send you recipes. No charge. Okay? Don't charge. You just ask me what do you want or ask me anything. You like no, but
Oh,
I'm happy you'll see me around. For those who's coming to Denver, come up and say hello to me and say you saw me on Miss V show. Okay?
yeah, on the Transplant Games.
Yes.
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there in 2026. I promise you that.
I
I'm
want to see you.
definitely gonna be
We,
there.
we can do an interview. We'll do it set up and do it live interview from there.
I
Okay?
love that. I'm gonna take you up on that. Thank you, Chef. Oh,
Goodbye,
you
United
are
States.
such
Goodbye,
a living legend.
my
Truly, you
Reno
are.
warriors and troopers, and God bless each and every one of you. Okay?
We love you, Chef. Oh, thank you for sharing your wisdom.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone who watched about Transplant Life today. Wasn't he a blessing, you guys? Oh my goodness. We're gonna have to
Well,
have you come back, Chef. Oh, let me see.
no,
We got some more comments. Everybody loves you.
we can do something next Black History Month.
Yeah,
Next
we can do something before then.
year. You
My
can call me.
friend Cheryl
You can
says thank you.
you can get in touch with
Antonio
me.
Larkin said he met you twice. Do you remember Antonio at the
Oh, if I can see him. Thank you,
uh
Antonio. Nice seeing you again.
Kathy
You,
says
thank
Kathy
you.
says her husband and she and her husband will be there in
Okay.
Denver. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Cassandra says, God bless Chef Oliver.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate it a whole lot. Sending lots of love to all you people out there. And God bless you.
God
Okay.
bless you. God bless you too, Chef O. You hang on, and I'm going to do some public service announcements. Thanks,
Okay.
y'all. Keep
Thank you.
watching. All
Okay.
right.
Bye bye.
Hey, everyone. It's Miss Vinny. Please visit our merch store at abouttransplantlife.com. We've got some really cool items for sale and support our efforts to raise awareness of the importance of organ, eye, and tissue donation by sharing incredible stories. So please visit our website today. That's abouttransplantlife.com.